Welcome to Half a Point, the podcast that came through on their promise. I said if I didn't go 5-0, I'd come back to Australia, and here we are, back in the motherland. I went 0-1 on Thursday, so it wasn't really a sweat for that. I started packing my bags pretty early, but yeah, crazy game in round 8 there. But this week is our round 9 best picks episode. We each be giving our 5 best picks against the spread. Tell me, break it down. I'm joined by my co-host, Carlton superfan Cuss. Mate, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good mate. Good to have you back. Finally back in Melbourne. So, our tide should turn a little bit here.
Yeah, we had a crisis meeting yesterday, in person, of course. We had a crisis meeting, and we concluded saying, "Oh, now that I'm here, our luck's going to change. Luck's going to change." So, yeah, that's a solution to all our problems here. But yeah, as a reminder, please leave a like on this video and subscribe. We're also active on TikTok, on X, and on Instagram and Spotify. So give us a follow on those, and also a reminder to please gamble responsibly. Right, Cuss. Jump to round 8, another frustrating round for us, but started off with Collingwood Hawthorn. You're just not going to cover many games when the other team kicks 15-3. Like it's just not going to happen. Colin could have missed. I know there's a lot of the expected score stuff that was coming out on social media. You probably saw that. I think Hawthorn should have won by like 36 points, I think. So yeah, look at expected score. If you look at expected score for this whole round, I would have gone 4-1, and you've gone 3-2. So that just shows to us that it's luck, it's variance more so than bad picks. So that's why we're going to say we're not concerned. It's just happening in consecutive weeks, which is pretty bad. I should calculate all the expected scores, that the ones that we won and the ones that we lost. I think there's at least 5 where if we went to expected scores, then. But of course, it's not an expected scores comp; it's the actual score. But so yeah, a little bit of bad luck. But yeah, Collingwood just kicked good. I think it was a good read. I think it was a fine pick. Just didn't go over the score. Bulldogs Fremantle. The Bulldogs were both thinking of playing it. It was a perfect spot for them, and they were deciding in the end, weren't they?
Yeah, it actually looked a bit rough for them at one point. Freo just kicked a barrage of goals towards the end of the third. And I think, yeah, at a certain point they weren't covering when the whole game they had the lead. So yeah, definitely would have been a bit of a sweat there, but they found a way to kick a few more goals. And then find a way to cover the line there.
That's right. If the other team kicks 8 goals in a row and you still cover, you just know that's just the right pick. It's a long-term winner. Yes, Bulldogs, good play if you're on that. Crows, Port, Port should have won. Like I was so mad. Like they should have won. Pretty brutal. Like they get the cover in the end. As I said, I just think they're the better team. So frustrating. It would have been so good for the futures if they won. But yeah, they get the cover in the end. It would be really brutal if they didn't cover. Because I feel like they were the I know Adelaide had a lot of dominance, but I know, as I said last week, I'm all in on this Port team. Essendon Brisbane, uh, sure, like Essendon again. I guess the headline of this is the whiteboard incident, which is pretty funny. I thought it just got leaked. But yeah, Brisbane just too classy. We see the Essendon side, like they seem to like have a couple good weeks and then like a lot of bad weeks, a couple good weeks, a lot of bad weeks. So um, yeah, it seems like they have a couple, like it's always a streak. It's not up and down. So yeah, a little bit harder to read, I guess, when he sort of get into the streaks. But West Coast Richmond were both in Richmond. It was a good play from us.
Yeah, next up we had oh, hang on, lost my notes. West
West
Coast
Coast
and
Richmond.
Richmond.
Yeah,
It was actually a pretty good game.
yeah,
It was actually something to enjoy. A few lead changes there as well. I think yeah, I was on Richmond here.
yeah.
We always say jump on the bad team or the underdog. In these sort of circumstances. Eagles, I'm not really sure how they were picking up that many points.
Yeah.
But yeah,
As I
good
said
good
last
for Richmond
week,
to cover.
I thought it was a goal either way, and it probably would have been like it like as you said, there's so many lead changes. So yeah, I thought West Coast would get up just being at home, but yeah, Richmond in the end, and then Geelong North.
Yeah, Geelong they just took control in that late in the third. Once again, just kicked so many goals. Were you on this game at all?
Nah, nah,
No, not on
stay
this
away.
game. Yeah.
I did lean North, which I didn't think was a bad pick actually. Like they were
Mm.
leading at the end of the third quarter,
Yeah, yeah.
and then catching 28 didn't cover. So that's brutal if you were North Melbourne, I think.
Yeah, very brutal. I think yeah, very unlucky. I feel like this North team really put up a fight. They sort of just Got out coached, it looked like, towards the end there. So definitely unlucky.
Yeah. And then Carlton St. Kilda. Oh, it happened again, man. Your boys like they had to leave it in after the first time. I was like, what a great lead. They're catching 2 goals here. What could go wrong? And then of course Carlton second half fade out. You almost like wanted them to be behind, so it doesn't happen, I guess. But I gotta say, man, this is your fault. This is all your fault, bro. What did I say 3 weeks ago? I said, if I say give me Carlton, you have to stop me and say no. Don't go with it. So I'm putting this one on you.
Yeah.
Usually I put my hand up when I make a mistake, but this one I'm putting on you. But yeah, as I said, we're both in Carlton. So yeah, pretty unlucky. Sydney, Melbourne, man, Melbourne, this is really impressive. Sydney's first non-cover of the year. So finally the only team I think to like go, I think whatever 7-0 ATS. So yeah, Melbourne do it on the road. Pretty high scoring game. Like Sydney Ball was in control. Melbourne weren't really going to ever win that game, but I think yeah, it was touch and go for the cover in the fourth quarter, but then they kicked the last couple of goals and get there. Suns, Giants. I feel again, this is one of those expected score ones where it would have gone our way, but it didn't.
Yeah, it was pretty hard game to watch, honestly. Like I guess the contest was good, but just in front of goal, it's just so frustrating to watch. I think they had kicked like 20 behinds before they had even kicked
Yeah,
like 5 goals, something like
yeah,
that. So pretty frustrating to watch. And just very easy opportunities that just went begging as well. So yeah, I feel like very unlucky if you're on the Giants here. But yeah, I guess that's footy. That's what
yeah.
happens.
That's right. Like, I'm making that pick 100 times out of 100. So yeah, but like again, so again losing weeks. I got 2 and 3, 15 and 25 ATS. You go 1 and 4, 13, 27 ATS. So that's a third of the way through the season. As I said, we're back. I'm back in Melbourne. Things are going to turn around. Favorites went 4 and 5 ATS. Again, 7-1, 7-1 straight up. So again, only one real upset. I guess Collingwood probably should have won, but yeah, only one upset technically, which is again recent. We usually see 2 to 3 per week, but yeah, there's a massive gap between the good teams and the bad teams, I guess. So that's got to do with that. Anyway, let's turn around. Let's give out some winners here. Let's go. Let's start now in round 9 here. Starting off with Fremantle versus Carlton. Thursday night game at Optus. Last time they played, Fremantle were laying half a point, ended up winning by 13. This time around, Fremantle are 4.5 point favorites. Give me Hawthorn plus 4.5 and give me Hawthorn to win outright here. Better team catching points, in my opinion. As I said, give me my premiership pick here. I think Fremantle are pretenders. Who have they beaten? Like, give me the best team that has beaten. Is it
Carlton.
Adelaide on the road? Yeah, okay, come on. Is it Adelaide on the road? Like, I don't know. Like, even that game, they were losing the last quarter. They have looked good. Like I'm not saying okay, I know I call them pretenders, but obviously I do. They're probably a top six side, but I just think they're a little bit overrated in the market right now, based on who they've beaten. Hawthorn has beaten Geelong, has beaten Sydney, and a few other good teams as well. I know they lost to the Giants on the road, but they've looked pretty impressive all the way through. This is sort of the big test game. And it's Fremantle, man. Like when expectations on Fremantle, that's exactly when they crumble. But yeah, I love catching points here. The line's gone up a little bit. I opened around 2.5. I think maybe off the back of the Newcomb news, he might be touch and go. So if Newcomb's ruled out, I think this one does balloon up. But as I said, even if it does, I'm still going to be all over Hawthorn here. Fremantle, they always disappoint in these spots. We saw last year they pulled away. I don't think it happens again this year. So give me Hawthorn and the points. What do you think?
Yeah, a bit of a different approach. I think I do rate I don't rate Hawthorn too well on the road. And I just think Freo this year have looked very good in terms of their attack. Like offensively, they can put up a score. Hawthorn obviously do have a really good defense, a very solid defense, but they just find a
Matches up
way
well
to,
with the Freo forwards.
yeah. Just I feel like they just almost find a way through. Um, Part of me wanted to go against this Freo team just because they did win on the road last week, and obviously Hawthorn do want to bounce back, but I just think I think Fremantle find a way to win this game, and I think they'll cover the line. So I'm jumping on Freo here at minus 4.5. it's a bold pick. This is I had to squeeze this in as my favorite. But yeah.
Clashing on that, fair enough. Yeah, I guess on the road they lost to the Giants, and their only other real true road game was the Western Bulldogs, which they did blow them out, but I guess it's a neutral game. And yeah, haven't really played on the road, so that's fair enough. I guess that's sound logic. This is also Frio's fourth consecutive or third consecutive 6 day break. So yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. Hawthorn is one of those teams where you don't want them because they can run you out in the fourth quarter. So even if Hawthorn's down by 2 or 3 goals in the fourth quarter, I'm still think this is alive. So yeah, that's what I'm going with the points. Fair enough, though. That's sound logic. Moving on to Brisbane versus Carlton Friday night game at the Gabba. Last time they played, Brisbane were 27.5 point favourites, ended up winning by 37. This time around, Brisbane are 42.5 point favourites. Where are you going with this one?
Mate, you'd have to be absolutely crazy to jump on this game, especially if you jumped on Carlton. And that's why I'm jumping on Carlton here at plus 42.5. Look, I just think it's a massive line. I like Carlton, I think they can find a way to like at least keep it close. And I don't absolutely no way they're gonna win this game, but I feel like they'll be able to keep it below 40 points at least. Brisbane, they on the road last week had a massive win, absolutely demolished Essendon. Bit going on behind the scenes as well. We've got players coming out and apologizing and saying they done the wrong thing. So yeah, I don't know if that'll maybe affect them, but I guess on the other side, Carlton just got fined 75K as
Yeah,
well. So two teams that are in the news a little bit this week, but yeah, I feel like Carlton might be in a position to cover this line, but oh mate, I did not want to pick this, but I decided to chuck it in there.
That's an insane pick. Just so everyone know, we're recording this on Tuesday night, so we don't know any of the teams or anything like that. But yeah, that is a wild pick, dude. I maybe analyzed this for 2 minutes. I saw actually 2 seconds. I saw Carlton. I was like, I'm not going to be on this game. Thank you very much. No,
Yeah.
thank you. But yeah, I haven't even thought about a lead. Like I guess Carlton, but yeah, Brisbane at the game as we say as favorites, but they have been covering this year. Maybe that one's coming back down to earth. So yeah, I hate that for you. I'll be rooting for Carlton for your sake, but I don't feel good about that at all. Fair enough, that's a gutsy pick. Moving on to Port Adelaide versus the Western Bulldogs. Friday night game at the Adelaide Oval, another doubleheader. Last time they played, the Dogs were 18.5 point favourites. Down in Ballarat ended up winning by 90. This time around, Port Adelaide are favoured by half a point. Give me Port Adelaide minus half a point here. As I said, I'm all in on this Port Adelaide side. But I thought that was a better team last week. I thought they should have won. This Western Bulldogs side, super banged up. I was kind of shocked when I saw this line. I thought Port Adelaide would be favoured by at least a goal here. So I have a little bit of value there on Port Adelaide. They are a dog at a few places, so shop around for that. But yes, Western Bulldogs side, as you said, they're super banged up. Laying points, or I guess catching half a point now on the road is a bit suspect. This isn't a spot that I generally like to play. Like Port Adelaide, I think have covered quite a few in a row. And the Western Bulldogs obviously they covered last week, but previous to that, on a bit of a slump. So I'm not buying very high. I'm not buying very low on Port Adelaide here, which is usually the what we do. But as I said, I just think this Port Adelaide side is a little bit of an outlier. I'm not saying they are this team, but I'm drawing a couple of parallels to the Hawthorn team from 2024, where remember they went on this crazy spree and took the market ages to catch up to them. I'm sort of hypothesizing that this Port Adelaide side is not at that level, but a lot better than what the market suggests. I don't know, they're at home and all they just need them is to beat this banged up Western Bulldogs side. There are whispers that Bont might be rested as well. As I said, we don't know the teams yet. So if it does, that this will go above a goal. So I'm going to come in early and take Port Adelaide here. If they don't end up covering, it's a bad play because it's not a buy low, sell high. Then I'll be kicking myself, but I have to go with it. What do you think?
Stay away from me. I think the line just threw me off a little bit. I think I was
What did you make
questioning.
it?
I thought it would be more to like I reckon Port Adelaide favorite by like 4.5 maybe
Yeah,
four and a
yeah,
half, 5.5.
yeah.
Yeah, simply because home game banged up Western Bulldogs. Yeah, I don't know, it just
It's a
throws
bit
me off a
fishy,
little
isn't
bit.
it?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
bit fishy. So I don't know. Just thought I'd stay away. But yeah, the Port Adelaide line does look very attractive.
Yeah, that's right. Moving on to North Melbourne versus Sydney Saturday afternoon game at Marvel. Last time they played, Sydney were 40.5 point favorites. Ended up winning by 31. This time around, North Melbourne are 27.5 point dogs. We're going this one.
Stay away for me. I think this Sydney team is just they find a way to just score. Like their forward line is absolutely insane at the moment. If it's not Kerno or Marty scoring, then they have other forwards there that can score. So yeah, I feel like the line is a bit small. I expected this to be at least 35. Um, so yeah, it's a stay away for me. I'm not sure how. I guess it's just Sydney away game, so maybe that's why the line is a little bit less. But yeah, what's your read on this?
Give me North Melbourne plus 27.5. Yeah, I'd faded them like ages, and then they just keep burning me. And as I said, I conceded last week. They're a lot better than what I thought. And so, yeah, this Sydney team could be a little bit of a let. This seems like a classic letdown spot, right? Like on the road, they've been flying. They haven't lost. They lost one game, and that was ages ago. I guess in round three, I think. They're just flying at the moment. This just feels like a classic letdown. We saw even last week against Melbourne, they didn't cover. So the market looks like the market's catching up to them, and North Melbourne's been overachieving. This all year. Both these teams, as I said, have been really good against the spread. So coming up against each other, I think North Melbourne at home, can they pull off the upset? I'm going to throw a little bit on the money line here. Like this is one of those games that where, as we said, North Melbourne, if they get on one of those scoring sprees, then they're pretty hard to stop. But yeah, as you said, it's the same thing for Sydney as well. Like once they get their ball movement going, we saw with this North Melbourne side last week, they can get opened up very quickly. So even if North Melbourne are up by like 20 in the third quarter, I'm still going to be scared. Like that Sydney could end up covering this game. So yeah, give me a North Melbourne and the points. Going to throw a touch on the money line as well. Moving on to the Giants versus Essendon Saturday afternoon game at NG. Last time I played, the Giants were 44.5 point favorites, ended up winning by 48. This time around, the Giants are 45.5 point favorites. It's going to be a stay away for me. This Giants side, they've been so frustrated. I mean, on the last 3 weeks, I'm on three with this Giants side, so I'm a bit mad at them. But what a nice way to bounce back, getting Essendon at home. But yeah, as I said, this Giants side at home, even laying these big numbers, like they did cover against the West Coast last year, but I can't remember any more instances where they've covered, I guess, North Melbourne as well, but that was just by a couple of points. So yeah, this Essendon side, we saw them take it to Gold Coast on the road when they were catching a similar number, almost won that game. But as I said during that game, I thought there was a little bit of variance. I thought Essendon overachieved. So I guess I would lean the Giants here, but I just don't trust them based on the last few weeks to cover such a large spread based on how they look. But we have seen them do it. So going to stay away, or what do you think?
Yeah, give me Essendon, plus 45.5. Yeah, like you said, I don't think GWS have done anything to sort of warrant that big of a line. Like that's, catching over 7 goals, like for a team that's really struggling at the moment. I think they're like 14th on the ladder or something. Yeah, didn't expect a line this big. Essendon, I get it. They're a pretty bad team. They're being spoken about in the media every single day. But they can play a decent bit of footy, and all they need is like a good half at least to sort of cover this line. So yeah, I don't know. I'm walking into this pretty confident, but you never know what Essendon can do to sort of crush that confidence from here.
Yeah, that's right. They might win or they might get blown out, really. Never know with this Essendon side. Moving on to Gold Coast versus St Kilda Saturday night game at in Darwin, TIO Stadium. Last time they played, Gold Coast were 12.5 point favorites, ended up winning by 19. This time around, Gold Coast are 15.5 point favorites. We're going this one.
Give me St Kilda plus 15.5. We've seen how they played past few weeks. Even as a favorite, they've covered. And we usually very big on them when they're an underdog. Different type. Obviously, not many games up in Darwin. So it'll be a different environment for them. But then even Suns, like their performance last week, it was I think like a lot of effort for very little reward. And you could just see that in how inaccurate they were in the first, especially in that first half. So, yeah, I think. I don't know, maybe that'll burn them a little bit. Whereas St Kilda just they're flying with confidence at the moment. And I think this being an underdog, it'll just definitely help them. So I'll probably put a little bit on the money line here as well. What do you think?
Yeah, gotta be a stay away from me. All the numbers say pick St Kilda, don't they? So, like it's yeah, like every single number you see says pick St Kilda. Like they were catching very similar numbers versus the Giants, and they won outright. And against Adelaide, where they had a massive lead, should have won, lost by 1 point. So, yeah, so they're 2-0, catching very similar numbers on the road against similar sort of teams. Um, this is in Darwin. Gold Coast don't lose in Darwin. I think they haven't lost a single game, right? And yeah, I just as I said, all the numbers say St Kilda, but I just feel like it's such a bad spot for them, like on the road after a massive win. And Gold Coast have been underachieving, I guess. I know they covered last week by only by a couple of points, but this Gold Coast team is meant to be like we called them as our minor premier. They're meant to be sort of putting on. Is this one of those games where they just put on at in Darwin at home? Bad spot for this St Kilda side. I know we like to jump on them as dogs, so I'm not dinging you for your pick, but yeah, I wanted to be on St Kilda. All the numbers say St Kilda. I just thought it was a bad spot for them, so I'm going to stay away from it. But fair enough with your pick. Moving on to Geelong versus Collingwood Saturday night game at the MCG. Last time we played Collingwood were 8.5 point favourites. Ended up losing by three. This time around Geelong are 12.5 point favourites. Going to this game, now back. So it'll be my first Collingwood game, which is actually insane. Cousin and I have gone to a bunch of footy games. All of them are Carlton. All of them have been Carlton. So it'll be the first Pies game, which would be crazy. But yeah, got to be a stay away from the contest. So it'd be good. I could just go and relax and just support my boys. I wanted to be in Collingwood. Like I sort of circled this spot in the preseason. And I like the spot. And I like the number. This Geelong side, as I said, I'm fading them going into the season. But this Collins side really overachieved last week. I was hoping to get a few more points. I was hoping they didn't cover last week and I could jump on them this week and get a better number, maybe around 3 goals. But they looked really good. So I'm not getting, I guess, the greatest number. And yeah, this Geelong side, we saw them put on against North Melbourne last week. So um, can that continue? Probably. And obviously, Collingwood variance is going to come back down to they're not going to kick 15-3 again, right? So do they get unlucky this time? And it could be the right read, like the Freo game was where they dominated but lost. I know they covered, but they lost the game. Could be the right read, but doesn't go your way. So I'm going to stay away. What do you think?
Yeah, stay away from me as well. I think if I had to pick a team here, it would probably be Collingwood. Yeah, I feel like they they're sort of showing signs that they can actually they're finding different ways to sort of score. Um, but yeah, also this Geelong side, um, you know, you have a look at their performance last week, and it was they sort of struggled almost against this North Melbourne side. To their credit, they are playing pretty well, but yeah, Geelong. I guess they always find a way as well. They're sort of like Collingwood in the way that they find a way.
Hmm.
They have such a great coach, great experience as well. So, I feel like two teams that just battle till the very end. So, stay away from me. I think this will be a close game though, and I think Collingwood might cover here.
Yeah, it's Collingwood or nothing for me. Moving on to Melbourne versus West Coast Sunday afternoon game at Marvel. Last time they played West Coast, Melbourne were 42.5 point favorites, ended up blowing out by 83. And again, Melbourne are 42.5 point favorites. Where are you going with this one?
Give me West Coast plus 42.5. Yeah, I'm just here for the points. I think that's a massive amount of points for Melbourne to lay. Um, yeah, but even then, you never know like what this Melbourne side can do. I feel like they're always surprising us every week with with their performance. And then you got West Coast on the other hand, who are just I feel like a bit lost at the moment. Especially like they lost to Richmond last week, so what's that going to do to their mental? But yeah, I feel like they should be able to cover this pretty easily. Keep it within 20 points. But now that I said
Bro,
that,
I
I
swear to
probably
God,
just
every time
jinxed
you
it.
say that, they don't come. To be fair,
Literally just jinxed it.
to be fair, anything we say they don't cover this year. So,
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
so
we need to change our dialogue, mate.
that's right. Completely agree. Give me a West Coast plus 42.5 here. Yeah, just like you said, I think it's a lot of points for Melbourne to be laying. I know they covered against Richmond, but as I said a few weeks ago, they lost to Essendon as massive favourites. They have been blown out a couple of times on the road. So, yeah, I don't think this Melbourne side deserves to be laying this many points against West Coast. And yeah, buying low, buying very low on West Coast after a few weeks where they've been pretty disappointing. Losing to Richmond at home doesn't get much bottom of the barrel than that. So yeah, I think this Melbourne side, I think they're getting some flowers for playing well at Sydney. Coming back home now, I think this could be a very sleepy spot for them. Can I don't know. To touch on the money line just because we have seen this Melbourne side lose as massive favourites. So I think there's probably a little bit of value in that. But yeah, I think West Coast should be able to cover pretty easily, as you say. Moving on to Richmond versus Adelaide, a Sunday afternoon game at MCG. Last time we played Adelaide were 38.5 point favorites, ended up winning by 68. This time around, Richmond up 35.5 point dogs. Give me Richmond plus 35.5 here. Who the hell are Adelaide to be laying 35.5 on the road here? This Adelaide side is not the same as last season. They've been awful this year against the spread. I know Richmond hasn't been much better. I think they've only covered two themselves. So yeah, two teams who are not going too well this year. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the home dog in this case. Adelaide side, as I said, they don't deserve to be laying such a big number. They haven't looked great. They should have lost to Port Adelaide. As I said, even at home, they've lost. On the road, they actually haven't been too bad. I think well, they beat Collingwood. Forgot the other road games, but yeah, haven't been the worst. But yeah, this Richmond side, maybe they found a little bit of something. Even if they didn't, like it's 35 points, like it's a lot of points. They were competitive against Melbourne before they got run out in the fourth. I don't know. I just think it's too many points. What do you think?
Yeah, stay away from me. I sort of agree with what you're saying, but yeah, I think, like you said, Adelaide, they do play a bit, like decent footy away from home, and then Richmond, do they regress a little bit after last week's win? But yeah, massive line, especially for Adelaide. But yeah, just thought I'd play it safe and stay away here.
Yes, I led on the road. It was yeah the Brisbane game as well, and they've had like three home games before that. So Brisbane Collingwood they got blown out by Brisbane as well. So
Mm.
yeah, I guess 1-1 on the road. So yeah, I just think yeah it just seems like one of those games where Adelaide just get over the line, but by a couple of goals, and Richmond cover. I'm pretty comfortable. As we said last year at Richmond at the MCG, they were covering machines. So yeah, hopefully that continues now as well. Especially now it's like half like 1/3 of the season, and they've been losing a bunch, and then so you're getting a lot of value as well. All right, so that's our picks for round nine. Give us your five costs.
Yep, so we've got Freo at -4.5, Carlton plus 42.5, Essendon plus 43.5, St Kilda plus 17.5, and then West Coast plus 43.5.
Yep. Give me Hawthorn plus 4.5. So I think they went outright as well. So clash on that. Port Adelaide minus half a point. North Melbourne plus 27.5. West Coast plus 42.5. And Richmond plus 35.5. All right. So again, four dogs in the favourite for both of us there.
Hmm.
Um, Survivor. Last week you had Port Adelaide, which was crazy because they were a dog. They should have won, but they didn't. You're
Yeah,
knocked out anyway, so it doesn't matter. So who would you recommend for
so
people to go
knocked
with
out
this?
twice.
Yep.
I don't think I've gone with Fremantle.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Uh,
Fremantle would be an awful one anyway, but
yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to pick a team at this point.
yeah.
Um, I'd go with Giants. I might have picked Giants.
Yeah, I don't
Don't
think,
know.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Giants as well. It was this or Melbourne, but I didn't want to like hedge because I'm going West Coast
Yeah.
on the points. But yeah, gonna be on the Giants. Hopefully Essendon can't win on the road at NG, but yeah, still alive. So I think survives anything that's going well for me this season. But
Yeah.
as you've said, 1/3 of the way to the season, we'll turn around. Closing thoughts before we wrap up here, Cuss.
No, look, welcome back to Melbourne. Let's turn this around, mate. We'll turn this around.
That's right. If you see me at the game, say hello. or or hurl some abuse. I
Yeah.
don't mind. But yeah, as a reminder, before you put hurl your abuse, leave a like on this video and subscribe. And until next week, bye.